I started really studying house music and house history in 2024. And it was really my first time ever stopping to recognize house as a distinct genre and a distinct culture. I grew up mainly in the 90s, and I was exposed to pretty much all black music growing up in the hood. I was exposed to house for the most part, and I had memories of certain popular hits, but I had no knowledge of where house was really coming from. And when I say coming from, I don't just mean the geographic origins, which most people already know as primarily Chicago, New Jersey, New York. But over the last few years, I've been trying to get an understanding of who and what generated house. The artists, the DJs, the club owners, the people who showed up to experience house on the dance floor back when the culture and the movement was really forming. I asked myself, what was house for them? And it's the kind of question that doesn't yield a single answer. The only way I've been able to get some sense of what house is, of what it's all about, is to follow the DJs and the people who witnessed house music in its early or original conception. I discovered that many of these people are still with us. They still play house music and they still revel in house just about every day. House is who they are. And these people are still playing house music in 2026 like nothing has changed. Because, as I said, it's who they are. So, in seeking out these people, I happened to find a DJ named Brother Basil. Now, when you look at Brother Basil's resume, he's got about 5 decades in the game. I tune into his live stream every Sunday, and a lot of times he'll tell stories about his journey, which for me is a gold mine of history. His career stretches back to the earliest days of the New York dance scene of the late 70s. And even before then, he started DJing in 1973 at age 13. From his bio, I read he launched his recording career sometime around 1989 under the name Basil Hardhouse. It seems to me he's worn a lot of different hats from DJ to producer to spoken word artist to songwriter to vocalist to label executive, and I also suspect probably even mentor to many people who know him. But what drew me to Brother Basil's weekly live streams was the undeniable authenticity. More and more, I was able to get a sense that this was someone deeply rooted in the times and the culture that gave birth to house music. So it was exactly where I needed to be. What makes it even richer is I came to find out that Brother Basil held residencies at several of New York City's legendary historic dance venues, probably most notable, the famous Paradise Garage, but also clubs like The Choice, Nell's, Kilimanjaro's, Sound Factory, and Red Zone. From what I've been able to gather, Brother Basil worked alongside the legendary DJ Larry Levan, who was the beating heart of Paradise Garage. And if I understand correctly, he also sort of studied under Larry Levan. So I imagine Larry Levan was someone who contributed to Brother Basil's development as a DJ and as an entertainer. I always say house was slightly before my time. In the late 80s, I was just entering elementary school. So obviously, I couldn't experience the clubs, but I do feel if I were of age at that time, I almost certainly would have been a part of that scene. So for me, this is as close as I can get to the true source of house. And that is by tapping in with the people who really come from that world. A lot of black music essentially has the same roots, So even though I'm of the 90s hip hop generation, I'm never really too far from all the things that make disco or soul or funk or house the phenomenal experiences that they are. Now, of course, each generation has their own unique expression in regards to music. And sometimes I find myself looking at times and places I never experienced and wanting to be a part of what previous generations have done. But I guess I can say that at least I still inherit I still inherit all the greatness that made these musical developments what they are. As a recording artist myself, I'm able to pick up all the great things my elders laid down. I tune into the Brother Basil live stream. It's called Sundays with Your Brother. I tune in, of course, for the music, but also because as he digs into the crates, it becomes almost like a history lesson. And I learn about artists that I either never heard of or that I just knew very little about. For example, I like the Stylistics and I love all of their major hits. They're probably one of my favorite R&B groups of all time. But Brother Basil and even a lot of times the people who join his live stream, the people who come into the room, a lot of whom are maybe 20, 25 years my senior, they drop little jewels and nuggets about the history of these artists, details I couldn't get anywhere else. So I just sit back and soak up the game. I tune into his live stream because there's something about the people who show up. I can't quite describe it. All I can say is that there seems to be a lot of love in the space, and I truly appreciate that. And I'm starting to see that perhaps that's what house is really about. There's something to learn from people who, having seen the world change as much as they have, having gone through the difficulties that no life is exempt from, to see these people still appreciating life and living, and of course, the giver of life, and valuing that above all, that's got to be what house is. House is a home, it's a shelter from the storm.